I'm back on stage with another sport which is very close to my heart, basketball. The FIBA Basketball World Cup, the largest international basketball event, just completed in Manila on Sunday with the breathtaking final between Germany and Serbia with a surprising win from Germany. So, first, David, welcome back. Congratulations on a successful event. And maybe let's start with a casual question. You know, as a basketball fan, obviously, maybe some people in the room who are used to the sport, are a fan of the sport, would be surprised that Team USA was not featured in that final. But we had two amazing teams. So let's say from a sporting perspective, what is your takeaway from this event? Did you enjoy the quality of it?
Yeah, thanks, David. And I'm back just really 12 hours after the World Cup finished, and 3 days ago, and we've done a lot of packing up, and I think we've still got 30 people on the ground doing the bump out to complete. But what an amazing quality event. The final itself, two powerhouses from Europe gave us a great spectacle of competition, but our semi-finals, our third, fourth playoff, all very tight. So the quality of what we saw was something which even the long-term basketball fans and a lot of the people around the FIBA family for a long time, I think 2 or 3 times said, best game ever, best game ever. The results were so close. Of course, most sort of observers anticipate the US will be standing there at the dais at the end, but you can see that the global game is closing. You know, there was 55 NBA players across all of the teams. So there's a really big contingent of international players now within the NBA, and there's just so many great stories. And you know, South Sudan coming out and playing and winning some games and qualifying directly through to the Olympics. You know, the Filipino fans who you know, finally got that win at the end there in front of Crazy House at Smart Araneta Arena. Again, was a traditional rivalry between the Philippines and China to win that game. So we had a whole lot of magic moments for our sport, but some really high quality basketball was played, and this was a great way for us to finish in such a beautiful game in that final. Genuinely, for basketball fans, it was a beautiful game to watch.
Thanks, David. Clearly the Filipinos are living and breathing basketball, and it was absolutely outstanding for me when going to Manila to see the passion. And from landing at the airport to the arena, through the city, it was all about basketball. So more from an organization perspective, what are your conclusions from this event? What is your takeaway? What can you take away from this event to apply for the next event?
Well, of course, the Philippines hosted group phase and the finals. But in Okinawa, Japan, we had the group phase. And also in Jakarta, Indonesia, we had the group phase. So we've got 3 nations who co-hosted this event. So the first time for FIBA at a World Cup, 3 nations. And quite unique for us organisationally, because culturally the 3 countries are very different. The maturity of the basketball in the 3 nations are different. The LOCs and their structure were different. So there were 3 independent entities delivering 1 World Cup. So we had a huge amount of lessons along the way, but at the end we all shared one vision, and that was around a highly successful World Cup with a focus on players and fan experience. So we had an amazing journey. All 3 hosts which were truly collaborators the whole way. So at no time were they competitors with each other. They were sharing openly their information around budgets, around potential local sponsorship partners. So we at the minimum we had this amazing baseline of collaboration between the 3. You go into Japan. you're down in Okinawa. During the preparations, you have, of course, COVID for the first 2 years. So for the first 2 years, we only ever spoke online. It took us 2 years to be able to visit and go face to face and have some meetings. So that was quite an interesting challenge in itself. You go to Okinawa, it's a small island and a few hours flight from Tokyo. So we were challenged, would the people come? It's a holiday destination. It can be $500 US a night for a room, but the people came. And we had sellout audiences throughout the event there in Okinawa, and beautifully delivered by the local organising committee. In Jakarta, 18 months before we threw the ball up, we had dirt where we were playing. So the local organising committee, the government, were able to align and build us a 16,000 seat venue, which was match ready exactly the day we needed to start. And I think there was a lot of people throughout the world who doubted, whether this could be delivered how it was, and there it was, 16,000 seats. Again, sellout games in Jakarta, and for those who aren't familiar, the Indonesian national team were unable to qualify. So we're playing in the 16,000 seat venue without the national team being able to compete and still selling out. And then you come to Manila and you've got 3 venues, one which is 55,000 and is, at best 1.25 hours away from the hotels. And I did 3 bus rides from the hotel to the venue to find out, could we deliver the athletes within 45 minutes? The fastest I was ever able to do it was 51 minutes. My worst was 3 hours and 25 minutes. So we're really trying to work out how do we provide an amazing athlete experience and get them from hotel to the venue under 45 minutes. And what we saw was this amazing collaboration between government, local government units, the police service, the local organising committee, unbelievably aligned, and we delivered the team within 41 minutes. So my transport director in the Philippines is now called 41 for an amazing result in aligning all those interests.
I mean, you emphasize on the challenges of the multi-host. I mean, obviously, this is more and more used by rights holders in sports to stage these big international events. We see more and more of these bigger events taking place in not just one single country, but multiple countries. I mean, what do you think you did, let's say, best in terms of overcoming these challenges? Because we're talking, I mean, you mentioned a couple challenges. Obviously, Indonesia not qualifying, so it's pretty hard to motivate the local fans to buy tickets if their national team is not competing. But also the distance, the operational challenges, and also the fact that you are mixing countries with very different basketball cultures. For Filipinos, very passionate sports, most popular sport in the country. Japan, Indonesia, not so much, not necessarily in the top 2 or 3. So, what do you think FIBA did best, and would you do it again?
What did we do best? I think the stitching together of one strategy. So one overarching global plan for the World Cup, of which we then were able to tailor the local look and feel. So what we wanted was that when athletes arrived in the country, it didn't matter where they are, they had a similar experience, and that there was also the local flavour to what that might be. The standard of hotels, the venue dressing, everything looked the same all across the 3 countries. And importantly, when you flicked onto the television or went online to watch, you didn't see 3 different World Cups. You saw one World Cup coming up the screen. So that was really important. But what we were able to do was then allow that local flexibility to give it some local flavour. And for example, for our game experience, we certainly, the lighting show, the staging, the type of presentation was similar all the way through. However, what our game experience Live Bros did was fantastic. Spent a lot of time in each of the 3 countries going to sports events, music events, cultural festivals, and seeing how fans in the 3 different countries interacted. So what, a Japanese fan is entirely different to a Filipino fan in the sporting arena. So how to interact in a way which, grabs those crowds and gets them going, and whether it be stings, whether it be the music they played, the type of activations they did. We had a conversation that went over 3 days in Japan about kiss cam. For the Japanese, this was not going to be acceptable using kiss cam. And slowly the Game X guys were able to, let's have a try. Let's see if we can make this work. And at the final dinner that I had with the 3 LOCs, and we went around the table to say, what was your special moment? The young guy who was looking after game experience from Japan, with a slight tear in his eye, said, seeing kiss cam work. So for him to be able to say that we tried something new, we turned it international, and now it's going to have an impact because we've got great jumbotrons in our venues in Japan, and that'll really influence the way they try and deliver the game now. So I think allowing that local flavour to come through, but still maintain a strong global brand for the World Cup was a great success for us. Would we do it again? Of course. I think it's a great way to deliver a World Cup. But you need LOCs who have the mindset that we are one group. Functionally, we operate in the way that we need to, but we've got the same goal, and I think that's what we achieved with these 3 hosts.
I read somewhere that across the 3 countries you sold, 700,000 tickets for the event. And I was obviously that takes a lot of effort on both the host and the rights holder to promote the event and make sure that the arenas are full. I mean, we're talking about a lot of games to fill with, let's say, countries which are not Team USA. So it takes a lot of promotional efforts on your side and on the host side. So can you tell us a bit more about your strategy on the promotional side to make that event a success at the local level, but also at the global level?
Yeah, look, 92 games is a lot of games. And in Metro Manila, we're delivering 52 games. So that's a lot of opportunity to buy tickets for people. That's a big challenge, 52 games, in a single city. One of the more innovative things that we did for the hosts is that we allowed them the opportunity to select a country which they felt they could market in their own networks. So we talked a long time with them about there's 3 potential options you have. You can go for the superstar player. So Japan, for example, they selected Slovenia and ended up with Luka Doncic coming to play. So they took that strategy of the star player. You could take the strategy of having all-star team. So a team full of as many NBA players or other high-quality global players. So Jakarta, they chose Canada. So for everybody, this was a big surprise. They would have thought, but people thought they might go for another star player. But for them, they were looking at having an all 12-player NBA squad come, and Canada ended up in the top 4. It was a smart choice. And then the Philippines ended up with Team USA as their choice. So we gave them the opportunity to identify who they wanted to bring in, to make sure that they had the opportunity to market and promote. And of course, there's a risk. You go to the star player. Lucas says, I'm not coming. They're without their star player and they've got the Team Slovenia. So, they had to make some calculated risk about what would work for them. All of them felt extremely pleased about the strategy. I do have to add that this, at one stage, one of the countries, which I won't name, was looking at, I'm going to take this team because I think I can beat them and I can make my way to the next round. I say, no, this is not what this is about. This is about you promoting the game and finding the right country to help you do that. So, we had to negotiate a long way about that, but also importantly, that the draw principles weren't affected by making this marketing choice. So teams still needed to end up in the right location, in the right grouping, in the right pools, but we could also then move the pools once that had worked out. So I think that was a really important one for us. A huge amount of marketing campaigns along the way. For the first time ever, we were more than 12 months ahead of tip-off that we were in the market selling tickets. So we were able to get ourselves in that situation, whether it be, follow my team passes, ultimate fan passes, super finals passes. So some structure there, because we're selling tickets, and I think at one stage we'd sold more than £1 million Swiss franc worth of tickets without knowing who had qualified, and certainly not knowing where they were going to play. So people took the opportunity to follow my team, or as I say, the super fan passes and the like. And then we had so many promotional stories along the way. The 1,000 days out, which 1,000 days went like that. We launched the brand. The Pulso, the heart, comes to the market 1,000 days out. So we've got the start of the story, and we're also, every opportunity we have, we're talking about ticketing. Get your ticketing sales, whether it be the mascot launch of JIP, whether it be the draw itself, the qualifiers draw. Every opportunity, we were talking about ticketing sales. So, as I say, for the first time, we gave ourselves a very long runway to make those sales.
That is quite comprehensive, clearly, and I'm sure contributed to the success, especially on ticket sales. I mean, you mentioned the global campaign. I think we have a video that we want to show the audience about your global campaign, featuring pretty much the star players.
Checkmate.
Hey Jordan, you want some ice cream?
Yeah, I'll take one.
Tips off on August 25th.
Nothing else matters.
Very creative. I mean, similarly to the previous panel on badminton, we see that star athletes are really at the heart of this communication. They help drive, obviously, the interest in general. Switching to a topic which is important when it comes to these bigger events and the footprint that they leave in the host countries. Was sustainability and corporate social responsibility initiatives at the heart of the plan? And did you execute in the planning and during the World Cup some of these initiatives to obviously contribute to the local basketball ecosystem?
Yeah, we took an interesting route on this, and we started actually with our mascot, Jip. So Jip was a robot. The story created is that 3 kids, one from Japan, one from Indonesia, and one from the Philippines, were online. They were chatting. They all found that they loved basketball. So they thought they would create a robot out of recycled materials, which created Jip. And Jip, of course, being Japan, Indonesia, and Philippines. So that was sort of a link to how we might tackle the sustainability and some CSR activities is through our mascot, Jip. And again, each of the 3 countries took a slightly different bent depending on what was social impact or a need in their own communities. So in the island of Okinawa, they took 2 big campaigns with JIP, and certainly one was about recycling and the trash on the beaches and those sorts of things. So there were some activities using JIP, the mascot, and connecting with the communities. But we also did a youth leadership program in Okinawa, and that was about engaging some of the youth from the little islands around Okinawa and providing them an opportunity to engage with sport, provide some social messaging which was relevant to their islands as well. And I think one of the great parts of the project was to bring 10,000 young people from Okinawa and the associated islands into the World Cup, so they could actually see it. They could engage with JIP and some other activities and the youth leadership program to try and connect the value of sport and basketball and being active and a healthy lifestyle through to this World Cup and experience. So that was the Japanese view of it with JIP. In Indonesia, they also undertook a youth leadership program. And again, there was a messaging around, life below the sea, so the healthy waters, keeping the oceans clean, and using the youth leaders to go out and run basketball clinics in different schools and to, excite the kids about sport and being active, but also, while they're engaged, to deliver some messages about healthy oceans and lifestyles. So this was the Indonesia one. And then the Philippines was all about the recycling, the trash. So I don't know if you ever saw Jip, but Jip was a robot. He had an electronic face, and on the back he had a hoop on the back of his robot suit. So in different areas of Manila and certainly around the venues, the back of the hoop was a rubbish bin. So people were able to throw their can or their product into the back of JIP, and then it would go through to the recycling. So it was just another way of another message, but for us, we really love the story of JIP and how the 3 countries used, the mascot to tell a different story relevant to their communities.
Yeah, hopefully that will obviously stimulate growth for the sport. I mean, there is a huge room for growth in the region for basketball. Obviously there are some countries such as the Philippines or China, which have a very large basketball fan base. But there are other countries where there is potential to go to sport, and I have no doubt that this event will contribute to this. Just for the last few minutes, I would like also to touch on the point, over the past 2 days in that conference, there was a lot of discussion about innovation technology. I understand, obviously, the event was a great success. There was a press release, obviously raising the fact that the event will be exposed in 190 countries. You produced the final phase games with 35 cameras. So can you highlight some of the innovations on the technology side that you have implemented for this event?
Yeah, as you say, 190 territories. It was 36 cameras in the setup for the delivery of the final phase, which a normal basketball game has 10 to 12 cameras, so we've gone with 36. And some of the innovation that the FIBA media team included in our broadcast, certainly some augmented reality. So the famous mascot Jip being able to fly around the screen and be a part of the broadcast. We had, the back of house content, which was being able to be captured, and then over that 5G network, loaded into the broadcast centre immediately for international feed. So as teams are arriving, coming off the bus, coming into the change rooms, there's a live feed coming off somebody's camera, off their phone, into the broadcast and up. So, we had some great technology through the broadcast centre. We had live stats tracking off player movement from the screen. So generally it's been, just from somebody clicking the button on a computer, but we were able to capture live off the actual game action, the stats, which could produce things like the heat maps of where people were shooting from, other things that were capturing how long somebody was out in the court. So there was a estimated energy level that somebody might be expending. So a lot of quite unique innovations into the broadcast side were put in place, and the FIBA media team, as I say, produced 92 games and did an exceptional job of creating something which was really beautiful to watch. Particularly, I think we had two slow-mo and two super slow-mo cameras in the venue, and just creating just such beautiful images of the game.
Basketball always at the top of the list with the NBA and FIBA, always leading the packs in terms of innovation. So I'm sure the fan viewer experience was absolutely outstanding. Just to conclude, David, I mean, next World Cup is when in 2027 in Qatar. So what do we need to wish you?
Well, this is David. I think what's interesting is that this is our third World Cup in Asia. But Asia is so diverse, as most of the people in this room would know. We've been in China. China's nothing like the Philippines, Indonesia and Japan. And Qatar is nothing like Japan, Philippines and Indonesia. So they're really three different markets for us. And I think what's going to be exciting about Qatar is it's so accessible. And I think it'll be a totally different fan base and a totally different experience, particularly from the Europeans. I think we had 3,500 Latvians travel to Indonesia for the games. There was, I think, 2,000 Serbs for the last game. So, you come into Qatar, it changes the whole dynamic entirely. So, yes, three World Cups in Asia, but three entirely different markets, for sure.
Thanks, David. Best wishes, and wish you the best for the preparation then for the next World Cup, huh? Thank you.
Already started.